Hey everybody, how's it going today? I am here with another episode of Snap Decisions. I, of course, am your host with the most, your Snap DJ, and I have got a special guest with me today. It is Lauren Whatevs. Lauren, you're my first second-time guest, I believe, other than Glazer. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming in, and so glad to have you here today.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here. What an honor to be repeat guest number two. I think I told you the very first time I would love to come on whenever. So
Yes,
uh,
yes. I just
happy to be
I
back.
know I people are so busy with the lives and stuff like that, and it's I reach out to many people and stuff, and I appreciate people taking the time out of their day. I'm taken aback by it a lot of times because it's not easy. You have things going on in your life and outside stuff of this and work and all that kind of stuff. And whenever somebody is able to give me some time out of their day, I'm very appreciative for it because I know how hard that sometimes is to do. So yeah, I appreciate you coming in. This is going to be a fun show because we've got some. I like to say this on my regular pod, but we've got some breaking news, and Lauren provided it for me today, so we're going to get right into that. And I don't have any slides to show, unfortunately, but we're going to kind of just talk about this. So, Lauren, we had some card changes here.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
an OTA of some card changes. We got this last time too, where they changed some things before the series came out. And of course, two of these are cards for this month, and then we have one for next month, and they're the season pass cards actually for next month and the month after. So I'm going to go over these a little bit with you here. So first, we're going to start off with Blink. So Blink, of course, is today's card. She was a 5/6. All that's really changing with her, they're adding a point of power. So she's going to 5/7. So what do you think about the change to today's card that comes out in a couple hours?
I've seen a lot of people be really high on Blink.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, this OTA, I think it was yesterday. And so
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty new, but I've seen some reactions to it, and a lot of people were like, she didn't need this extra power. It's like, that's possible. It's possible it was just a little tiny buff to sell some more season passes or whatever. But I think a lot of people are missing how clunky she's going to be.
Mm.
Like, she's going to be awesome when she works, but like, okay, if you want to upgrade your 5 cost into a 6 cost, uh, if you have only 2 6 costs in your deck, they're already going to be in your hand over half of the time.
Yep.
So I think Blink is going to prove to be a bit like Pixie, where it is a strong power, but it's going to take a little bit of development to figure out what decks she works best in.
I know I was talking to you yesterday because, of course, every time something comes to mind where I think I can get a Galactus sneaky play in, I always try to do it. But, Lauren pointed out, it's like she just said, the only way, what I was thinking to do is just have 1/6 card in your deck because in this way, she's going to grab it. But like you were saying, what if you get that 6 card in your hand, in your opening hand? You're done. You're going to have to completely play a different style. And so yeah, you're right. It is gonna. I think a lot of people have thought, yeah, this is gonna be great. I know people are mentioning it for ramp. That it would be a good ramp card. Jubilee seems to have some synergy with the card.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it'll bring ramp back a little bit. And now that she has that 1 point of extra power, she's a little bit of a bigger presence on the board. Just for the fact that maybe. Who knows? Maybe, like you were saying, you just get stuck playing other things. But I don't know. Looking at it, I don't think it's going to be as impactful as Zemo was.
You might be right, because Zemo introduced like a whole archetype.
Yeah.
And I don't think Blink can do that.
Right.
With Blink becomes our second card with Lockjaw, who can put cards back in your deck. We've lost Old Crystal, which is, like pretty niche to use Old Crystal for her put cards back in deck ability. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get more of that, because that's something that could strengthen Blink. Like, if you had a way to put your 6 costs back into your deck, that would strengthen Blink, but that'll be a future thing. I think you might be right. I think less impactful than Zemo. She might be better than Zemo, but I don't know that she's going to have as much meta presence.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And I, you know, and I think Zemo is a pretty good card. I like the way that they introduced a new, like you were saying, you know, a new way to play. They brought Mill into the game, and I don't think Mill can get to be really bad. I went through the old days of Magic in the '90s when people were playing a card called a Millstone, which honestly was the worst deck to play against. They would literally get rid of your entire deck of 60 cards, and you would think that's got to be impossible to do. It's not. They get you locked in the way that they would. You couldn't attack them with anything. You couldn't do. You were just basically sitting there. They'd have counter spells to counter your other cards, and it was awful, really awful to play. So I think they did a pretty good job with Mill. I don't think it's that crazy. It can get a little obnoxious sometimes when they're, you know, when you're seeing you have nothing left in your deck. But I don't think it's that bad. What are your thoughts on the Mill deck list overall?
I agree. Mostly it's just annoying. Like if they're going all in on milling,
Yep.
right? Like they're playing Wong and Yondu, or they're
Yeah.
bouncing all their mill cards, and like if they're going all in and they take out your deck, it's like, well, they don't have that much power on the board.
Yep.
So they almost need like to really totally annihilate your deck. They need like a Kamartage or something like that to support their game plan. I Sometimes it depends, just depends on which card they hit. But I have won plenty of games against Mill where my deck is empty by turn 5, and
Me too.
it's still okay.
Yep. Yeah, me too. It's really all, you know, when you get the draws, and there are many times when I'll get big cards in my opening draw, and that I really can't play right away. I get that a lot. And that against the Mill deck is, you're just going to beat them because they're going to get rid of all that little stuff. You're going to have the big stuff left to play at the end, and it's just, yeah, no, I agree. I think it could have been a lot worse than it was. So, you know, it's probably in a good spot. I wouldn't go any further with it. And what I mean by that is I don't know that I'd be making cards necessarily that are going to help it any more than it is, because I think it can get crazy.
Yeah, that's one of my like, I don't know, pet concepts for like, this is a real challenge with Marvel Snap.
Yep.
Is it would be really cool for them to develop more 2-cost and 3-cost destroy cards, right? So I have some variance between like, oh, maybe I want this little bit of nuance where I like this card better than Carnage. But the problem is when they do that, then you could just run Carnage Venom and the new 2-cost and the new 3-cost. That's like, they have to be really careful with that, right? Like the other example I always go to is 0 costs. It would be awesome to have more 0 costs, but they have to be really careful because it's not just, oh, I'm going to swap out Wasp for this. It's like, I could run a deck with 4 0 costs.
Yeah.
And that could get spicy maybe.
Oh yeah, Pixie would blow up for sure with that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's, you know, a lot of times we look at things and we think, oh, why don't they just do this, or they don't do that? There's a lot to consider when you're developing games. There just is. It blows my mind. I couldn't even think about, you know, the board meetings and where these guys are sitting in a room trying to figure out one thing or another. But yeah, you're 100% right. It's and oh God, please don't help Destroy anymore.
Agreed.
Please don't help that deck anymore. That oh my gosh, that deck is so. I started playing. I think you shared the list. I started playing that ongoing list that you shared. Oh my God, that's the best thing ever, because when I was playing that, I came up against my first 3 decks I played were Destroy, and that completely wipes that out because you've got Cosmo and Armor in the deck. Most of the time they'll leave after the second turn when you play both of the cards. But oh man, Destroy needs no more help, especially with the locations it gets, and it never fails. I could be playing a game against Destroy, and there's a location that's destroying cards all the time. So don't help Destroy anymore. Yeah. All right, so let me go into the next card. We have, so this is now. I'll go into, let's look at this other card from this season. So, or no, do we have another? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, we do. Namora. So Namora, a lot of people are saying this is the worst card of the month. I would kind of tend to agree. She's on reveal 5, was 5/5, gives +5 power to each of your cards alone in another location. She is now a 5/6. Same stats. So they gave her a point of power. Do you think it really matters? I'm not still fond of the card. I think it's going to be very niche. Sure, you can get that maybe one big card in the lane, like Namor, I guess, or maybe Orca in that one lane, and she's going to help it. But other than that, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I wonder more than Blink. This one feels like trying to make the card more appealing,
Yeah,
rather than a balance concern. I think it's like how did they buff Legion last second? Or did they?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
they
they
gave
did.
him 1 point at the
They
last
did.
second, and
Yep.
then he ended up being a lot better than the community was
Yep.
evaluating him as. I honestly think Namora is going to be like that. I think she's a lot better than people are thinking,
Okay.
but I still think she's number 5. Like, it's a funny thing about like how the game balance has gotten since February or March. We've just had every card is good.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, that is true. When we look back at this past season, you can't really say, that there was any card that was lousy, and that hasn't been the case, prior to that, where you'd always have one or two that you can, like you were saying, you can signal out and be like, all right, that's a skip. I'm skipping that week because I really don't care about it. The card's not good, and I'm just not gonna. I mean, even look back at a card like Cannonball, that everybody thought that this is a skip week. That doesn't look good. Now that card is amazing. Same with U.S. Agent. Now he all of a sudden is very good. So yeah, you're right. I agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see how she's used. It's kind of a unique, a unique card. And you might be right. Maybe someone will find some way to get this card to work. That is a lot of power. +5 power is a lot of power from her. So
It's
we'll
a
see.
ton of power. And
Yeah.
I've seen people talk about this like dream combo where you have Cosmo one lane and the other lane armor, or I like Colossus even better actually, because then he can't get hit by Valkyrie or Shadow King.
Yep.
You have those two, and then you set up a Wong, Namora, and Odin, and it's like you get 2 gigantic side lanes.
Can you imagine winning both of those lanes, one with a Cosmo and one with an armor? That's amazing. That's
right?
amazing.
Like, is this going to be what brings Colossus back?
Oh,
and it's like that's fun, but when you talk about you need this like incredible like 5-piece combo in order for the card to be good, that's like okay, that's an extreme situation. Like there's a lot of cards in the game that are really really good when you do the thing perfectly. The question is how good she's going to be otherwise. But I think there are decks where like a Ms. Marvel or movement decks where you're okay having just one thing in a couple locations on turn 5, and then on turn 6 you fill them up, and you're getting the Miss Marvel points. You got the Namora points already.
Yep.
Maybe your turn 6 is Doom. Like that's a decent amount of points.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, she does have that. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe they made it a little bit better with it. The point of power. I don't know whether that changes it or not, but yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll be something that people will look into a little bit more, and she will surprise people down the road. So, all right, we have a change to next season's. This is the next season pass, of course, Eternals. This is Gilgamesh. He was wow. This is a big jump. He's going from a 5-2 to a 5-7. But he loses so his on reveal was +2 power for each of your other cards in play with increased power. That is going down to a +1. So his on reveal changes. It did seem that +2 was a little excessive, but now he's getting a lot more power. He's getting extra 5 points of power there. So what do you think of the of the Gilgamesh change?
Yeah, so I mean, as long as he's getting, as long as it's based on how many cards on your board have increased power. And by the way it's worded, I don't think it's permanently increased power. I think I think like Blue Marvel will count, or Xandar.
Yeah.
So as long as there's 5 or fewer cards getting hit, Gilgamesh is just stronger now. It's an interesting change. It's one where they're raising the floor of the card, but they're really dropping the ceiling for things like Odin, Wong. He's going to get, he doesn't just get gigantic in those cases.
Yep.
yeah, I really don't know how to feel about it. I already was like, is this card gonna be good? And
Mm.
now I think it's even more questionable. Um, but I don't know. Like, if you have a zoo deck and you have Blue Marvel on the board, what is he now? 5'7"?
5'7".
I mean, you could be getting up to 515 to 520 ish range, 519, I guess.
That's true.
518 probably doesn't hit himself. Um, and that's blob power, that's a Red Hulk power.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
also begs the question, like, why wouldn't you just use Red Hulk?
Red Hulk.
Like,
That's true. Yeah. I hate to say this, but I think the cards matter, of course, the most because of course it's a card game. However, I also think interest in seasons and cards also matter to the fans of the genre. And Eternals is going to be a hard sell because
I think so too.
not many people watched the movie, I don't think. And if they did, I watched it. I've seen them all. Eternals, I've never chosen to watch a second time. I saw it the first time, and I'm like, yeah, that's enough. It was okay. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't the worst Marvel movie I don't think I've seen. There may have been a couple other that were below it, but I don't know. Yeah, I just think it's going to be a hard sell for this month for them. Now for me, I'm excited about Arashim. That's the one I think that is going to make the most people excited, especially for people who create content. I think that's a great card for them. They could just have Arashim stuff. They could just say, "Hey, we're playing Arashim today on the streams, and we're just going to see what happens and roll the dice." I think that'll be a really fun card, and I've said it's almost like a draft mode for Snap in a way. People wanted a draft mode. Well, you technically got it because you're just getting a whole mess of cards that you don't know what it's going to be. But yeah, what do you think about Eternals as a whole? I don't know. Like I said, I still think that might be, if I had to look at numbers or see numbers from Snap, that might be maybe one of their lowest, I think, selling seasons as far as season passes go.
I think you're right, and I also don't think Gilgamesh was he's not the most exciting card that season. There are
Agreed.
several others that are more fun. And I guess your season pass doesn't have to be the most exciting, but it needs to be like broadly appealing. And
Yeah, it does.
he feels a little too niche. Like Zoo, like I mean, that
Yeah,
was Black
yeah,
Swan, right? And that was
right.
like
Yeah.
I agree. The Eternals movie, it was probably one of my least favorite I've seen in the MCU.
Yep.
I feel like I've heard somebody in the community say it's their favorite. It might have been Ben Brode, uh, who said it was his favorite
That's
um,
crazy.
MCU movie, and I'm like, I want to hear somebody explain how The Eternals is your favorite MCU
Right?
movie.
That's insane. I don't even think it makes most people's top 20
Yeah,
films yeah, that's insane. Maybe he was a big fan of the comics and stuff. I don't know. The comics go back to like Jack Kirby. That was a thing he came from New Gods, or got the idea from New Gods from DC, because he did that over there. And then he came over and tried to kind of replicate it with Eternals and Marvel. And I don't know, even going back, that's a comic book I even read. I've seen them, but I've never looked at it. And it's like, DC's to me was better. So I really never really looked at it very much. But yeah, no, top 10 or number one film in March. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a little odd. I wouldn't go there. Definitely wouldn't go there. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I hope that I hope I'm wrong. But I know, and like you said, with the card itself, it almost seems like they should have switched positions and had Gilgamesh be the fourth week and have Arashim be the season pass. Because I think that would have garnered a lot more people's interest. That people are going to be looking forward to that Arashim card, and of course, he doesn't come out until the very end of the season. So
yeah, he's not competitive, but he's so appealing, right? Like
right,
it's our first 7 cost, and you
yeah,
get this completely different way to play, and not really a competitive card. Although I'm
no,
sure some people will pull it off just fine, right? Like a
yeah,
Quinjet and I don't know, Blink. There are
Blob to
ways to
eat all the
like,
cards. Yeah,
yeah, there are cards that can take advantage of it.
yeah,
Um, or Lockjaw, cycle out your worst cards. I don't
yeah,
know. But how fun would that have been? Like first week where there's 50% of players getting the season pass and everybody's running the silly card.
yep, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I think that would have been a blast. Yeah, it's a shame you're going to only really have a week to play it. And I don't know, again, maybe their strategy was something going on there where they're like, let's put this last because if it tanks, at least it'll only be a week long and then it will be on to the next season. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking, but like, your idea is much better. I think you would have started with that card, you would have had it for a little bit and then move on, or maybe the opposite. And maybe they think if they started with that, maybe they think, look at the rest of the cards and everybody thinks like, well, this has gone downhill really fast. I'm buying the season pass and nothing else for this month. So I don't know. That save the best for last. Maybe who knows? I don't know what they're thinking.
It's a weird season.
It is. I agree. It definitely is. All right. So we have now this is July, and obviously we have the Deadpool season in July coinciding with the film, which is very smart merchandising on their part. Gwenpool is changed, and a lot of people had said this probably would. She seemed cracked with her original powers. She's going from a 4/4 to a 4/6. She is changing from pick a random card in your hand 4 times, give +2 power each time. That is now reduced to 3 times. I still think it's pretty good. This is going to be amazing with Surfer, with bumping up the cards in there, or Brood, or whatever the case might be. I still think it's pretty good with the 3 times, and she's getting 2 points of extra power. So, what do you think of the Gwenpool change?
In some cases, she's better, right? Because like you're guaranteeing one of your +2 hits is on the board instead of stuck in your hand.
Yeah.
But the things you're mentioning, things like Brood, or say a Sebastian Shaw, or a Black Panther. I don't know, cards that you want to be stronger before you play them. Nico's doubling spell. Yeah, it makes her weaker there. So I think probably weaker overall because her ability is her real strength. I mean, can you imagine like with a Wong hitting 8 +2s? That's
yeah, that's oh my god.
that's a lot.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's insane.
I think it's probably a wise change. But she's what, 4/6 now?
4/6.
4/6 with an ability that seems to me quite a bit stronger than White Queen's. I mean, not that White Queen is anything like a meta staple.
Right, she doesn't get played. Yeah. What a shame too. She's such a great character. That's the card they need to fix.
Yeah. And I think they could do like a small adjustment to make it quite a bit better, whether that's just a little bit of power or like give the copied card extra power or reduced cost.
Yeah.
Gwenpool is a much better example of a season pass card, I think. I think there are a lot of applications.
Yep.
A lot of different decks. Even if people don't know the character, she just seems more fun than Gilgamesh. I don't know.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, they are the card changes, and there are a couple other changes I'm going to get to in a little bit because I'm going to talk to Lauren about some upcoming things with alliances and leagues. And of course, whenever I have Lauren on my show, we're going to talk some economy in Marvel Snap, and that's going to come up on here as well. So I'm going to just go through this really quickly because this has just started. The Marvel Snap, the Snap Judgments League, this is season 2, just began on Monday. So yesterday was the beginning of it. There is a $700 prize pool in there. I believe everyone is signed in that is going to be signed in. I'm pretty sure. Lauren, you're playing in this one, yes?
Yeah, I actually had my first match last night.
Oh, did you? Okay. How did we do?
I won. All right. This is my little secret. This is my secret tip.
Okay.
It's not that good, but it is decent. Find your opponent on Discord or Twitter or whatever, and see what kind of decks they like.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I saw that my opponent actually didn't post that much on Twitter, but I saw that they did their season recap. And they had Spectrum as one of their top winning cards. And I'm like, maybe they're playing the really good Spectrum deck right now. The one that's like #1 in Conquest?
Yep.
And so I gambled. I played the Spectrum deck too because I've been playing it quite a bit lately. So I feel like I've got a good handle on it. Um, and I swapped out Nebula for Echo.
Oh, nice.
I thought about doing Scroll, but I'm like, that's probably overcommittal. So I swapped out Nebula for Echo, and my opponent was indeed playing a Spectrum deck. And yeah, the Cosmo came in clutch for stopping their Spectrum, and the Echo was just so mean, especially when I had Jean Grey too. Just like take out every card they
Wipes
play
that
there.
out. Yep.
Yeah, Echo is a mean card. I'm surprised she's not used more, but I guess it's because ongoing just isn't that present in the meta.
Yeah.
But she's asymmetrical, unlike well, I guess Shang is too, but like unlike an Enchantress or a Cosmo, she's asymmetrical. Like I can keep playing ongoing cards there and it's fine.
I
So
love that deck. Love it. The whole thing behind Jean Grey and making them play in that lane, and then you have things that are going to punish them for it. The Punisher, who'd have thought he'd be used in a deck that was pretty good. And of course, yeah, Mojo is in there, and just I love it. I was having a blast with that yesterday, winning games both on in Conquest and on ladder with it. So that's fantastic deck. And then you put down that Spectrum to end it, and she'll just win games. I mean, it's it's really fun. So, well, congrats on your win. That's awesome. I know it's going to be a little bit different this time, where it's not just going to be if you lose a match or two, you may be considered out all the way. It's going to play a little bit differently that way. So that's awesome. I have my first match on Thursday night, I believe, is when mine, or Thursday evening is when I'm doing mine. So, yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be fun. If you weren't able to get in on this one, make sure you do for the next one, because it's just a lot of fun. You'll meet some amazing people. You reach out to them through Discord, and you set up your match and stuff like Lauren was just saying. And many times after the matches are over, I personally would stay around. I chat with them a little bit and get to know them. And it was awesome. And I had some guests on here from that. So definitely get involved in it if you haven't done so this month. It's a lot of fun, and I'm sure they're going to continue to keep doing them. So, all right, I'm going to talk a bit about really
can
fast.
I say?
Sure, absolutely. Go right ahead.
I took your advice of like, hey, like socialize with this person, which like I was like kind in season 1, but I didn't like stay in chat. But yeah, the person who I was matched with used a couple Nintendo character emotes in their conversation. So I'm just like, hey, you like Nintendo? And it's like, yeah, very astute. I do. And I'm like, I love Nintendo. What games do you play? And like find out they play Smash. And like Smash is one of my all-time favorite games. I've poured hundreds of hours into literally every iteration. So we got to chat for like 20, 30 minutes. It was really fun.
That's awesome. I love it. I love to hear that. Yeah, it's great. It really is. And I love I've said this many, many times before. The one thing I miss about card games when I used to play Magic and stuff like that, we would just go out and we would just, because you're playing face to face, you'd meet a lot of people. And some of them I became friends with that I still talk to today. They'll come in my store. I haven't maybe seen them in 20 years. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? You remember the face and you're like, how's things going? Oh, I've got children and this and that. And it's awesome. You will meet people that you will end up talking to for, maybe the rest of your life. It was really amazing experience. And, with the digital stuff, we tend to lose that. But that's one thing I love about the league is that you can get back to that. You can kind of do that kind of thing, and win or lose, you're going to meet some great people. So it's a wonderful advertisement for it. Definitely get in on it. It's only $1 to do. And man, you could waste $1 anywhere. I see a doggo.
Yeah, he's a really clingy guy.
I love dogs. I am a huge dog lover. Oh, look at that. That's awesome. So cute. Mine was just out laying in the sun because it's really nice here today. It's like 70 degrees, not too hot. And she just loves to be out in our backyard. So we just let her out and she'll just wander over her own little area of the front and she just lays down and she's just looking around and then she'll sleep there. She loves being outside. Yeah, just loves being outside. So
he likes sunning on the porch.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I was going to say something, but I forgot.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. I am such. I always kind of wanted to. I always thought I might like to volunteer like for a shelter or something, but I don't think I could because I'd want to bring them all home. when you see them there, because it's like you don't want to leave them, you get close to them and stuff like that. So yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
Love
that
it.
seems really hard.
Yeah. I love the pet guests. I wish I could bring mine on stream. A lot of people said, "Oh, where's your dog?" And I'm like, I can't lift her.
She's way too big.
She's a pit bull, and she's pretty heavy. Pit beagle bull she is, but she's quite heavy. And I'm like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. But yeah, you'll hear her bark from time to time when the mailman comes and stuff. So there you go. Awesome. All right. I'm going to move on to, and of course we have this going on today. So if you have a favorite streamer, you may want to go check them out today, because we are getting really cool Twitch drops. So a lot of times people are like, you're going to get a variant. Most of the time it's going to be a pixel, big, NBD. But the streamers today, man, congrats to them. They are going to have a ball with this. Going to get a lot of people watching their streams. I have different people I watch. I know Ree in our group, of course, streams on Twitch. And yeah, this is going to be a really, really big lift for them. So you're going to get Bishop and Mr. Sinister, the X-Men 97, which the last time Lauren and I were on a podcast together, we had talked about this being should be a thing. Like, we need to get X-Men 97. Well, we've got it. I hope this isn't it. And I hope they continue to do these. Imagine if you could put together a deck of some sort, like even if it's one of those events where you're playing with more X-Men cards. Imagine if you could have like an X-Men 97 deck. That'd be amazing.
So cool. I think we've got to be having more on the way.
Yeah.
I love how they look like kind of like retro trading cards.
Yes.
That, like,
with the border.
Additional border. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, Bishop and Sinister, I feel like are weird choices if they're the only two you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, agreed. They're not the most popular ones. They're not the Cyclops or the Magneto or the Professor X. But yeah, I think you're right. And yeah, I love it. I don't know if people noticed, but you can see the logo up there, like Lauren had mentioned, in the left-hand side there. There's a red logo that says X-Men 97. Very, very trading card-ish, like you said. Yeah.
They're super fun. I was thrilled to see them. We haven't seen any others in the data mines yet, but I have to imagine more are coming.
Yeah, I would think so too. Maybe they'll just keep doing them as Twitch drops. I know a lot of people were saying that why can't they give better stuff? This is 6 hours. So it's a long time out of your day. If you're going to sit down, I know you could cheat through it. You could kind of just leave the stream on and not really have to watch, which is what I do. A lot of times I'll put I'll put it on my tablet. I'll watch when I can. But if I'm doing other stuff around the house, I just leave it go. And you don't even really have to do much of anything else. So it's kind of easy to do, I guess. But maybe they'll just keep doing this and just keep dropping like specialty variants as rewards for these things, which I think is kind of cool. It guarantees that if that everybody can get them, right? You really can't complain about not being able to do it.
Yeah, I think the very first Twitch drops were the only ones so far that had unique variants.
Yes.
So I'm very happy to see that again.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sure, like I said, the streamers will be thrilled for it, because they're definitely going to get a lot of people out of that. So awesome. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So next up here, I'm going to go to, actually, we're not going to go to that. I want to go to this. So you brought to my attention this morning, which I am appreciative of, let's talk a little bit about alliances and leagues, and then we'll get into a little bit of a discussion about the economy, because I think this kind of leads into it a little bit anyway. So we have some data mines here, and you can see this up. I got this from, of course, a Glazer Snap Judgment podcast talked about this. You can see up there the board as the screen for alliances. So you can see they have a minimum collection level. They have a minimum highest rank achieved. So you have infinite, of course, up there, and plus 10,000 collection level. Of course, then there's privacy, invite only, open. So you can make open leagues that anybody can come. You can make them that you can just invite who you want to, or you can make a closed one where you don't want anybody coming in. And then, of course, there's search labels down there. Now, you do have to pay. It's 100 gold every time you want to create an alliance. So that's there. And then
my understanding is that's really normal in games.
Yeah, it is.
And actually, this one's quite cheap compared to other games, and it's kind of just to stop spam.
Agreed. Yeah, you do have to, like, even in World of Warcraft, when I played that for many, many years, if you wanted to create a guild, you had to pay for it every single time. So yeah, it's absolutely, a lot. If you, some of your guild mates and stuff like that maybe would they send you gold in order to help you pay for it, and everybody kind of split it and stuff like that. But yeah, it was more than 100 gold, I could tell you that. And then of course that second screen up there, you could see an alliances screen there. It says join and create. There is a select emblem, and you have that little second dinner guy with the tongue there. I don't know what he is, a marshmallow.
His name is
dude.
Fud. He's a dumpling.
He's a dumpling. That's right. He's a dumpling. So you have him up there. I hope they're going to have more of those. Other than that, I think that would be awesome if they had characters in there. There's even a theme, which is that looks kind of cool. It's like very 80s retro.
Yeah, that one's synthwavy.
It's very synthwavy. I kind of dig that. And then down the bottom, you have minimum collection level, of course, and minimum highest ranked achieve any rank and stuff. So, what do you think about alliances? I mean, it seems like the only thing that I had mentioned that when I heard this come up before, if the member cap is 25, I think that's a problem. Because especially these bigger creators or bigger streamers and stuff. I mean, just take one, Cozy, right? Everybody's going to want to be in Cozy's league. Everybody, whatever kind he does, if he lets that open to just anyone, which maybe they just won't do that because it's too hard for anybody to choose. How would you choose who gets in, who doesn't?
Yeah.
But I don't know. 25, I think, is a little bit tough. I know guilds in World of Warcraft, you can have countless. There was no limit. You can have tons and tons and tons of members. Now, if you're a guild master, that could become problematic because a lot of times, a lot of those people are just in it to get rewards. They never really play the game. They never really come and do any raids or anything with you. So it can be a little bit of a pain, and you have to watch to see, okay, this person hasn't been doing anything or logged into the game for a certain amount of time. I'm going to bounce them out because they're obviously not playing. So what do you think of alliances? And we'll start there first.
I think the name is okay. I liked teams better.
Yeah.
They hadn't decided what that stood for. So I don't know how long ago, several months ago, there was an in-game survey for what do you want this to be called? And I thought the TEAMS in the style of shield and sword, I thought that was super cute.
Yeah.
And very easy to make the MS stand for Marvel Snap. 25, I agree. 25 feels low. But depending on how the system works with what you have to do to get rewards, making it too high may feel really inaccessible to casual players, or people who just play the game on their own and don't really have friends, don't engage with the community.
Like your pup is engaging?
Yeah, asking kiddo to get him a treat.
There you go.
Or maybe breakfast. I think that I'm sure there will be open. We see that, right? Privacy open, and there's search labels. So you will be able to just find a guild and get into it. I've seen people on Twitter and Reddit express concern that I don't really have Snap friends. How am I going to get into a guild? And it's I've played other mobile games where I didn't have friends playing it, and I had no problem just searching for a guild, getting in, finding one that was active. And then you kind of make friends with the people there.
Correct.
I've looked at these several times, and this is the first time I've noticed language English, which to me says there's chat, which I think is great.
Yeah.
To have in-game chat. I know we have plenty of places to chat out of game, but for those players who are not just joining Twitter friends or Discord friends or whatever, in-game chat I feel is incredibly important. And this is going to add a huge, important social element to Snap.
Yeah,
I think it's a very good idea.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I would agree with you there with the chat for sure. I think it's I personally I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm gonna want to be in 1,000 of these, but I know I'm not going to have enough time to do it. But yeah, because you're right. You're going to have, many of us have friends on social media, right? You have friends on X, or you have friends on Facebook and stuff like that who play the game. Maybe you're in a Facebook group or whatever. Or like you were saying, maybe you're in a Discord group with a bunch of friends. Or I don't know, maybe you've met other people via other means that play Snap, but you're going to want to get in with those people. But then maybe there's a favorite, like I was saying, a creator or a favorite channel that you like that you want to get in with those. Or I know Interrobang mentioned, I think I might start a Heralds of Galactus clan. I'm like, well, I've got to be in that one. So it's like you might run into a point where you might want to join a ton of them. And they do take up time. I will say, going back from my time with Warcraft, with guilds, now they were a lot of work with a guild, because you would have to go on raids. Raids in Warcraft could last hours and hours and hours. I got to a point where I was a class called a tank. So I was a main tank in my group, and I had to be there every single time. I had no choice. Couldn't miss a raid. And they're raiding at night, and they're telling me, okay, you got to be on here at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you're going until midnight on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'm like, hold on. I have a life and I have a job, and it's like, I'm not getting paid to do this. There is no way I can do that or make that kind of schedule. I tried it for a little bit, and I'm like, I can't do this. And so that was over with really, really quickly. So just be aware. Now, obviously, Snap, it's going to be nothing like that, because Snap games are quick and stuff like that. But just be aware that, if you join one, they will require you to do the stuff, at least that you got to do to be involved. So just be aware of that. I know that
you have to match the activity, right? Like,
correct.
If it's a casual guild, then nobody cares that all 25 players are casual.
Exactly.
But yeah, if you're not pulling your weight in a guild that's taking it really seriously, then you're going to get kicked.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. And I'd imagine, like, the fact that you could set ranks. So the people that are setting ranks to infinite will probably maybe be, I would assume, your serious players, or the ones that are going to be, a little more static to that anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, but and I mean, I definitely won't be in an infinite guild. So, but yeah. So I don't know. I mean, what overall, I think it looks pretty cool, and obviously more details on the way. Were these boards, Lauren? Do you know, were they shared from the overseas players that were testing them? Is that how we got these?
So Leagues is the one that's going to be tested. Alliances is not. This is purely data mined, is my understanding.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And here are leagues right here, actually. So we'll get to them too. This is also borrowed, of course, from Snap Judgments Pod. This says Spiders League. So, of course, your name up at the top. This has a time limit, 22 hours, 19 minutes. No perks active, it says. And then there's a ×2 30-minute point booster. And that's free. Of course, you have a free up there. And then underneath, you have a ranking board. So there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3, gold, silver, and bronze. The gold person in here is going to win a spotlight key, a premium mystery variant. You're going to get some credits. And then that thing on the right, I don't know what those are. It must be points for
those
something.
Are boosters.
Oh, they are boosters? Okay, they look a little different from the thing. Okay.
And 310 is enough for 2 full splits.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, that makes more sense. So what do you think of leagues? Now, this one, as opposed to the alliances, this one I think is going to be a little more time intensive. You're going to have to do things within a certain amount of time. As you can see, the countdown clock up there, and there is going to be a leaderboard with this. And the leader, of course, is going to be the one that's going to get the spotlight key out of this. So what do you think of the league thing here?
I think they're a fun idea. So it's like a shorter term, smaller player count, infinite leaderboard, right? Like it's a leaderboard. And we have from the data mines how the points work. You get 100 points for a win, and then every cube gained or lost is worth 25 points.
Okay.
So every win is essentially worth +4 cubes on top of the cubes you get. Like most people, I'm very concerned about the booster. I understand that they need to monetize features, but the fact that it says free with a gold icon says to me that the one after the free one is not free.
Not free. Yep, you're probably right. Yep. Give you the first one free, and after that, it's yeah. You just know that there's going to have to be something like that, right? It's unfortunate, but yeah, I would agree with you there. I think you're spot on. There's also another screen which I don't have up there. This is a times up screen. So to say win queues to gain points, times up, no perks active, play a game to join your league. And there's also another screen that Lauren shared with me that says you'll earn 100 points for a win. And gain or lose 25 points per cube won or lost. And it says got it on the bottom. So you have to agree to that before you would start. And then there's another screen that says league event live, play games to gain points to earn rewards, and then it'll say check it out, and of course maybe later. So that's your home screen for it. So overall, how do you feel about this overall? Because I know this was something that they mentioned in the we're doing this on the calendar a while back. Do you think that people are going to be excited about this? And is this the kind of thing, like you personally, we're looking to get in the game that's going to get you a little more excited about playing Snap?
A little short-term leaderboard like this would motivate me to play more after I had already finished all my dailies and weeklies.
Okay.
You know, because after that, it's either grinding conquest, trying to climb ladder, or just playing for fun. And I like playing for fun, but it helps to have some prize-based incentive to continue playing. And I think this does provide that. But I think a lot of people are just going to instantly write it off if it's pay to win.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. And that is a great segue to our next conversation. I always have to talk to you about this because you are the person who I would always go to about talking to about the economy of the game. And Lauren has done some amazing articles about this very topic, and please check them out. But yeah, look, it's no secret that we've had things happening. So we've had emotes that cost a ton of gold that started the whole thing downhill, and then we had now we have these collectible borders that came out that started the train rolling even more down into the negativity road. And man, where? So I'm just gonna ask you. This look. I get it. These companies have to make money. I understand that. I've seen enough of these games come and go, especially on mobile, where they don't last. And the reason they don't last is because they don't get the money they need to keep going. Marvel is an expensive IP, I'm sure. And how many millions and millions of dollars has to just go for that? And as I've said before too, don't think that these are the only games that do that. They're not. Regular games that you buy that are video games now that you're paying $70 for just a game, they end, and then they want to give you future content to keep playing it. So you're going to get skins, you're going to get new boards to play, you're going to get levels to do. Each one of those things that you get costs more money. World of Warcraft, I got out of that. I don't play it much anymore, but man, they were giving you mounts that you can buy, different stuff for in game that you can buy. So it's everywhere. And so I want to get your thoughts on, now that we're seeing the leagues, we're talking a little bit about that, and the monetization of it. And man, oh man, I want your opinion too. This latest patch, where there were no card changes. Wow, did that come at a bad time? Because it was nothing but more money stuff, and it's like, oh, I saw that, and I'm like, oh dear Lord, this is not a good time for this to have happened. So yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts on the stuff with the economy now.
Okay. I think things are not nearly as dire as the loud vocal people would have you think. But I do think they really messed up this patch, both having no balance changes and having what appears to be only a way to spend money. they've said before that their main balancing tool is OTAs, and they only balance through patches when they have to. And the OTA technology has gotten better. It used to be OTAs could only change numbers, but now they can change abilities through OTA. And this was, as far as I know, and I talked to other like Snap historians about it. As far as I know, this was the first patch that had no balance changes in it. So I'm with you. Like, I understand that they need to like set that expectation if that's the way things are going, but this was a bad time to do it. And the meta was fine. So it's not like we needed balance changes, but also throw a bone to Kang, Captain America. Those are the two that Glazer has mentioned. But like,
yes,
there are plenty of characters that you could just give a little nudge to, and it would be fine, and it would make them more interesting, and it would acknowledge that you're doing something. They've said that collectible borders starting next patch are a reward. I don't think they're going to be in the collection level track. I think they're going to be login rewards, maybe conquest, maybe new game modes, Twitch drops. Like, I think there'll be those kind of rewards.
Album reward, maybe card album rewards. Yeah.
And when they're a reward, you get the border, and then you can use it as an item to give to a character. And this is why they are per character, right? People think it's so greedy that they're per character instead of for your entire collection. But that's why, it's because they want to give out a lot of them.
Yeah.
And in order to have like a sustainable reward system, they can't just give you 12 borders and now you have all of them.
Right.
There's still a weird item. I know a lot of players who keep their entire collection at the same border level, and they're just never going to use collectible borders because there's no way you can do your entire collection.
Yeah.
I think even the whaliest of whales, like, that is ridiculous. 900 gold for a silver border.
Agreed. Yeah. I've seen some people that have played me that have had their entire one outlined in the green, the entire deck outlined in green neon. And I'm like, that's well above my level. I'm like, that's never going to happen. But yeah, you make a great point. I had always had my cards gold bordered. Always. All my cards were just gold border. That's the one I liked, and that's where I kept them. So yeah, no, you're 100% right.
See, a player like me, I don't make my whole deck match. I make my cards use the border that looks good for that card. And I love the way a matching deck works, but I've kind of gone back and forth on it, and mostly I prefer making it be a per card thing. I like matching the card's background art or whatever. So I might use some of these. We did find out I think I'm the one who like publicized it, but it was actually somebody who's not like a content creator, just like in a little Discord that I'm in, who noticed that the neon borders are really different between low quality graphics and high quality graphics.
Yes, they are.
And they're like disappointingly like really bland on low quality. So I think that's something they need to fix.
Yep, 100% they are. I can attest to that because I play mostly on mobile. So the mobile quality is going to obviously depend on your device. I mean, I have an older iPad, which is now, 5-6 years old, that is running low on memory and stuff like that. So, I have to run it on lower, the lower standard. My iPhone is brand new, and I can tell the difference between those two. If I put a white border on a card, and I go through, and I was messing around with all my cards to see what's going to look good and here and there. I wasn't going to buy anything, but I just wanted to see. And when I'd have a white border, the white neon on a card on the iPad, it would look like a regular border. There was no difference. You couldn't see the neon. You couldn't see the glare. Now on my iPhone, I could see the difference on the iPhone. So the graphics quality is 100%. That is true. I've definitely seen that. I saw people say that on X as well. And I imagine maybe on PC, depending, of course, on your PC or the quality of it, it's probably going to be the best on there, I would think. But yeah, no, you're 100% right. I have seen that up close.
Yeah. I think most devices, like I think your iPad, maybe not, but I think most older-ish devices can handle the high quality, but people intentionally play on low to save battery. I'm the same way. I play on a tiny, like an iPhone mini. This thing it's a small screen.
I know them well. I sold them for a good while. Yes.
And I love I went from a Pro Max to a mini. So the biggest iPhone to the smallest iPhone.
Yep.
And I love all the aspects of it being small. except for the battery. The battery's small too, so
Yeah.
so yeah, I keep it to 30 FPS and low quality graphics. And the first time I saw the borders, I was like, these are not neon. These aren't even better than like the borders we already have for free.
Yep.
Okay. So mostly I think these are like the wrong parts of the economy to be concerned with. I'm with you. Like, I see people like, oh, Marvel Snap makes enough money. Why do they need to make even more? And it's like, we don't actually know what their finances are. Like, the team has grown a lot. We don't know how much money the IP costs and how much money the publisher is asking for. And they have like an entire second round of funding that I imagine they have to pay back at some point.
Oh yeah.
It's complicated, but like, monetizing cosmetics shouldn't be a concern. And I see people like with this patch saying, oh, well, we had monetization changes, but not balance changes. And it's like, those teams are really different. And there's too many people who think that like focusing on one takes away from the other. That's just not the case. Like, I strongly believe that Glenn's team is interested in making the game fun above all else.
Yeah.
I think it's more concerning card acquisition. I don't know if you want to get into that or not.
Yeah, well, you know what?
We
can bring it up because I'll tell you, and I didn't notice this until I saw another streamer talk about it. This month's Spotlight caches, I'll just come right out and say it. They're not good. They're just not good. There's I think Legion's in one and stuff like that, but there aren't really any eye-catching cards, and not just to me. I'm different because I have the entire collection. I'm collection complete, so I can't speak to that. But I just, as a general player, when you're looking at those and you're like, like in the past, I mean, I'd get excited to see a favorite card of mine with a really cool variant. Like, ooh, there's a comic book variant. I'm in. These are really, really not exciting at all. So that to me says, all right, well, yeah, it's good, I guess, because I can save my caches. But it's like, I don't know. And then, the whole thing with series drops and stuff, and there's nothing coming. They keep promising it, but we're not seeing anything. Yeah, I want to get your thoughts, because it is a concern. Because, going back to the discussion we had when you were first on the show, nothing's changed about beginning of the game, right? Nothing's changed for new players. There's no real difference for new players. There's been so many suggestions people have given me, yourself and others I've had on the show, saying there should be some sort of new card bundle. They want to make money anyway. So put like 4 cards. Let's say you want to do Destroy. Give them 4 cards in that bundle and set a price on it. If you want to make money anyhow, I think that would be maybe a decent way to go, depending upon how much you make it. If somebody wants to play Destroy and they want to get Null, or they want to get Death, and then, put them in a bundle. I don't know. But nothing's been done to that effect. And so, yeah, where do you stand on this? Because, some of the stuff it's a head scratcher. And it's like, okay, where are you going with this? Like you were saying, cosmetics shouldn't be a worry, because you're going to pay for cosmetics no matter what game you play. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know.
And in theory, cosmetics fund, like, they subsidize the game for everybody else.
Yeah.
Right? That's what makes it so that the content can be as cheap as it is.
Yeah.
And certainly I understand the argument, like, oh, well, if we're seeing cosmetics monetize more, it'd be nice to see some of those savings passed on to the content of the game.
Yeah.
I've seen the idea recently a few times that they went too far with Spotlights. Like, they tried to make the economy, they tried to make card acquisition more affordable, and they went too far. And I can believe that. It used to be like $200, $250 a month to get every card.
Yep.
And starting with Spotlights in July last year, it was like $10 to $15 a month if you approached it with good strategy. And so I can see the argument that they went too far, and now they're kind of like pulling it back a little bit. We're getting an extra card every season. We're getting no more cards coming directly to Series 4. I think it's okay for them to pull back a little bit, right? There's a lot of room between $15 a month and $250 a month. There's a real conversation to be had about how do you describe the cost of the game? Is it owning every card? Because I think most players are fine not owning every card.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, what's the cost of owning almost every card? And that is actually quite a bit cheaper than like, like the first extra card you get in a season beyond free is cheaper than the second one you get beyond free. Like
Yep.
they get increasingly expensive. In that way, I think the system is designed well. Here's my this is my like key. Okay. You and I were on Snap Judgments together, and Glacier surprised me with an economy topic. I hadn't seen the board ahead of time, and so I was like, "Oh, this is not like I'm not prepared to talk about this." And so I've been thinking about it more, like, what is the problem? Why do spotlights feel bad? How do we make it better for us in a way that's realistic, like something that Second Dinner could actually do?
Yep.
One of the core problems that they addressed with the old system, they said when making the new system, well, I should just say there's two. One is that people were just skipping new cards, right?
Yep.
Because they would inevitably, after 3 months, they would go to Series 4, be half price, and then 2 months after that, they would go to Series 3 and be free. And so it just made sense to wait like that. And they didn't want that. They wanted people being excited about new cards instead of having so much pushback. Like, there was a time before Spotlight caches that people who write articles and people who create YouTube videos would talk about a new card, and the comments would just be full of people upset saying like, I'm excited to play this card in a few months. That'd be cool. And just like hating the content because it was inaccessible. And so Spotlights have in some ways done a very good job of that, putting Series 4 and 5 cards into players' hands.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. You can see new cards like Red Hulk and White Widow, and they have very high play rates, which means tons of players, including free players, are getting them.
Yep.
The problem is that they have made cards so expensive with the changes this year, extra card each season as one of the very big ones. They've made them so expensive that I feel like skipping cards again. And not because it's actually for the same reason. Like, I'm waiting for them to get cheaper. When a card appears in its second spotlight, it's cheaper because then I get that card and the new release that week at the same time. Right. I skipped Proxima Midnight. I skipped Corvus. I don't play discard a lot, so those were easy choices. And then in July, which by the way, 5 months later, way too long.
Oh yeah.
In July, I can get Proxima and the new release at the same, like with the same set of keys.
Yep.
So we're back to the original problem of skipping cards in order to wait for them to be cheaper. Like, that's not a problem that they solved with the Spotlight system. Yep. And it's getting worse as they're making like that flaw of the Spotlight system is being highlighted as acquisition is getting more expensive again. I don't know how they're going to address that. I don't know if you can address that without reworking the system again. And I imagine they are very loath to do so because when they did Spotlights, they made card acquisition so much cheaper and people hated it. That's like the worst combo possible.
Yep.
There are things they can do. I'm concerned that the only things we've seen them address is we want the system to be better for new players. We want the system to be better for returning players.
Yep.
Those are great. We need those, but we also need the system to be better for your active players.
Yep.
And the only thing I've seen Steven address in that area is that they want to make the random S4 and 5 in the Spotlight. They want the random card to feel better, which I think could help a lot, right? Add some dupe protection. It doesn't need to be you are guaranteed not to get a dupe, but maybe you have a 50% chance not to get a dupe. Even if you're only missing one card, you have a 50% chance to get that card. I've been trying to think like, how do you make it feel better and make cards a little bit more affordable so that I don't want to just skip every week. And I have a couple ideas.
Okay.
Without pushing it too far into this is unrealistic. Second dinner can't do this. It's not financially viable.
Yep.
I've seen ideas like, oh, what if I could spend 2 keys to get the prize of my choice? And it's like, well, that actually makes cards a lot cheaper because then you're never going to roll 4.
Yep.
And, so here are my two. One I already kind of mentioned is add some degree of dupe protection, right? If they're not comfortable with full dupe protection, make it scale so that when your collection is empty and you have none of the series 4 and 5 cards, you're guaranteed not to get a dupe, obviously. By the time you're at a full collection, make it a 50% chance that you're not going to get a dupe, or a 25% chance that you're not going to get a dupe. That's still huge. When there's like, I can't think of what the number is right now. What is there, like 66-ish, almost 70 cards in series 4 and 5?
Yeah, I think you're right. I want to say I think it's closer to 70.
Okay, so let's just say 70. And if people don't know, you don't have an even chance of getting those cards in the random spot. It's 1/3 chance to get the series 5 card. So your chance of getting the brand new card, if that's the only one you're missing, or let's just say any series 5 card you're missing, is like 1 in 50 of the series 5 cards times 1 in 3. 1 out of 150 times you're going to get the card you're missing. Like, it's just
that's
way too low.
Yeah.
And the alternative is 1,000 tokens. Like, I think the 1,000 tokens would be fine if you got new cards from that more often.
Yep. Yeah.
My second thought is they need to give you a bonus for spending on as many weeks as possible. And that could be like a punch card system where it's like not how many keys you spend, but every week where you spend at least 1 key, you work towards a prize. Or, and this would need some tweaking, this does not work at its base level, but something like where the first key you spend every week counts as 2 keys. That would make it hugely rewarding to spend every week instead of saving and waiting for the cards to come around, and you get 2, and then 2 of the cards in the featured list are new to you.
That's interesting.
Obviously that's too strong. So you need some sort of balance. Maybe it's every key you spend, every first key you spend in a week is worth 3,000 tokens. I don't know what the balance is, but some balance where you are rewarded for spending in as many weeks as possible.
Do you think they can do like a gold, silver, and bronze key? Do you know what I mean? Like, make different key levels somehow where, according to your system, like the gold key could be the one that gets you the 2. Or or something along those lines. And just make. I'm just thinking because I've played other games that have had key systems, and almost all the time, and it seems like they're going toward gold, silver, bronze. We saw the league thing a little bit, or a little bit before. So, do you think they could change the key and just have a gold, silver, and bronze key, and somehow fit that into what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think that could work too. A gold key lets you choose your prize.
Yep.
A silver key can't pull the random slot. I don't know what that would look like, but
yeah.
I think an alternative is increased agency. I don't know if that solves the problem of you want people to be spending in as many weeks as possible instead of intentionally delaying.
Right.
There's this really good quote. I can't remember the game designer's name, but there's this really good quote that is essentially like, if you let players do it, they will optimize all the fun out of the game. And I know that that's a little funny coming from me because like I am the like economy optimization, like that's my, I have made that my shtick.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have an economy that didn't need a strategy guide.
That's true.
But as is, the spotlight system lets you optimize away the fun, which was the exact same problem they were having in the old system. Like, I am increasingly feeling like I want to skip, even though I have 10-ish keys, I want to skip half of the cards every season because I'm worried about running out of keys. And so I would much rather use them in a more efficient way, which is waiting for there to be a week where I'm missing 2 cards.
Yeah.
But with the size of Series 4 and 5, which goes to the series drop conversation, with the size of Series 4 and 5, we're now waiting 5 months for a card to appear the second time. And that's ridiculous.
That is.
They need to enforce that cards show up their second time like 2 months later, maybe 3 months later.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, listen, we've heard the whole thing where they said, well, we have to wait for us to get variants and this and that. I mean, my gosh, how many times have we seen Null? Null has been in Spotlight Caches. I can't even tell you how many times. But I get that. But look, whether or not you have to contract out with these artists to get you different stuff, or look, and I don't know, I would imagine the permissions they have, and I don't know, I'm not going to pretend to know legalese stuff, but I'd imagine the permissions they have with the license, because I know that Marvel as a whole and Disney and everything like that now control everything Marvel. So they control the comic book part of it too. So unless they're fighting for licensing from artists maybe, or something for those old books, those old covers and stuff like that, there's, to me, I don't know, there's really no reason why they can't have those more, because you already own it. You own all that stuff. So that's part of the license. So, and that also to me is, and many of these cards are taken from comics. People don't even realize it. Many of the comic book covers are out there. They just don't advertise them like the Marvel Comics Group one was. But
yeah.
But how hard can it be to pull these from countless amounts of comic book covers that have been done from, the 1960s? So that doesn't fly with me either. Like, well, we have to, look, you're right. Nobody should have to wait 5 months to get a card. And we were talking about it earlier. A card like Cannonball. Now people are saying, well, that sucks. I really would have liked to have that card. And now I'm not going to see it for 6 months. Or US Agent, even more recently. Well, I skipped that because so many people said it was going to be the worst card of the month, that, people are telling it it's not good, and now all of a sudden it's better now. You fixed it in the same month. And now I want it. Well, forget it. You're not going to see it for 5 months. Yeah, it's like tough luck is the thing, and that's the last thing you want to be saying to players is oh, too bad you missed it. Or the whole,
but it's a double-edged sword. If they have
is.
them appear 2 months later, that actually incentivizes me even more to skip weeks, because
That's
I'm
true.
like, I can wait 2 months for Proxima. I don't want to wait 5, but I can wait 2. I'm just going to wait 2 months for every single card, so that I always have 2 missing cards in the spotlight. Which is why it has to come with some motivation to spend on as many weeks as possible.
Yeah. It's really crazy. And I think it goes back to when they first started this game and they were talking about unique collections. I think that has to go out the window.
I have that listed as something where it's like, they have this handful of ideas that they need to let go of. Like, these are like, okay, they were good ideas. They were worth trying.
Yeah.
But they haven't panned out, and it's okay to let go of your favorite darling ideas, right? Like, if it's going to make the game better, kill your darlings.
Yeah.
And I have 3 of those. One of them is unique card collections.
That's become a meme, like literally a meme.
Yeah. It needs to be unique cosmetics. That's fun.
Yes.
Unique cards when you're in the end game is awful.
Yes. Whenever that still pops up on my screen with that Ben Brode ad. Do you want a card game that has unique collections? Yeah, look, when you have a small card game like this, Magic the Gathering, everybody's going to have unique collections for the most part, because it's expensive as hell to buy a set of Magic, and you're not going to always be able to pay all that money. But
you can't mix and match every card. Like,
correct. Right. And the thing with those bigger card games too is a lot of the cards never get played. A lot of them are just horrible.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I think you're right. I think they have to let that go. I get it. It was a thing at the beginning. You've grown now. Move past that, because I think you'd have a lot of happier people if they were able to just get some of these better cards.
Mm-hmm. Here's the other 2. One of them I know you agree with: hot locations.
Oh my God. Oh, they are a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. When they get to the point where they're stopping people from playing, and I think I was just watching KM Best's podcast yesterday. He said he stopped. He said, I didn't play for 2 days. When you're getting creators like that are saying, I refuse to play because this hot location sucks.
Yeah, I'm not streaming on Wednesdays because I don't want to play.
Yeah, I don't want to play the hot locations. Like, I don't want to play the same decks. You have to change your deck now. So the ones that favor destroy, forget it. You're going to see destroy. And I'm like, I hate that. I don't want to have to be forced to play a deck I don't like. Yeah, I agree. Okay, yeah, continue, because I want them gone.
Yeah. Number 3 is, and I don't know how many people know this is one of their like things, but it has been since they introduced spotlights, is that they think you should be able to spend a key and get any card. And that's why the random series 4 and 5 exists how it does.
Yeah.
Right. It's partially, they said, like, we don't want people with full collections to have if they had true dupe protection, we don't want people with full collections to spend 1 key and have a 50% chance at the new card, because either the new card or the random will give them the new card. I get that. But they also said that another aspect is they think it's really cool that any key you spend could be Thanos, even if it's not Thanos week. I think that's a cool idea, but I think it's a huge part of what's hurting spotlights.
Yep.
And we already talked about that. Like, add some degree of dupe protection.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a feels bad almost. Like, I think I was talking to the kid Snap, and he was telling me that he opened up one and he actually got a new card. He's like, "Oh my god, I got a new card out of this. It's amazing." I because you just never see. It's always 1,000 token, 1,000 token, 1,000 token, and yeah, man. I agree. They're great points, and I think it's a good place for them to start. They do need to do something with this. You can continue to give people good new game modes and stuff like that, the alliances thing and everything else, but when it's traced back to the roots of it, there's still an issue, and you have to correct these issues, or you're slowly going to lose people. And there are, look, when I've seen in the past month, some of the larger content creators, and I'm not going to name names, are already starting to say, "Well, I don't know. I think I'm not going to play so much anymore. I'm not going to create so much anymore. And Marvel Rivals is coming out, so I may do some stuff with that." And it's scary because they're the ones that are getting people to play this game. And they're called social media influencers for a reason. If they go to something else and they get somebody excited in something else, that's bad for the game. And so, yeah, I agree.
Your creators are some of your most dedicated players, most dedicated
Absolutely.
fans, and they're going to bring other people with them. Like,
no doubt. Yep, yeah. No doubt. Absolutely. So, yeah, I love the points. I agree. This is a topic I'm sure that is going to be talked about for a long time going forward, unless something is done going forward. So, all right.
Can I do one more?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
One more, and then I'm done with like everything I've thought about the economy.
Go right ahead.
This is very in line with what you were talking about with the cannonball problem, the US agent problem, and with my problem, which is that they've gotten rid of direct to S4 cards.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I think you can turn that into a positive simply by giving out more tokens, right? People were exploiting the system, optimizing it. A Series 4 release was a clear, like, skip week. Don't spend keys, spend your tokens, because they're twice as valuable on Series 4 releases.
Yeah.
I understand why they don't want that, why they don't want just like free skip weeks for their spotlights.
Yeah.
So what if instead there are no more direct to Series 4 cards, but you get twice as many tokens? And that way you can choose when your one skip week a month or every 6 weeks or whatever. You can choose when your one skip week is, because I don't really care about the spotlight, but I really want the new card. I'm going to drop tokens on it. Or you save your tokens for those feels bad moments when you skipped Cannonball and it turns out he's actually awesome, right? It gives people the chance to course correct. It softens the blow that you have to wait 5 months for the card to show up.
Yep.
Tokens have been just like so severely devalued. And I think I've previously been very against the idea of like, oh, just give us more tokens, like, because they're not the primary system anymore. The spotlights are, and the spotlight keys make cards cheaper. But that was in a system where we were getting direct to S4 cards. Without those, double your tokens, let people choose their own skip weeks, and it will be spread out over the entire month instead of centered on 1 week.
Love that. Yeah. I mean, look, everything is the tokens we got, never enough. They had those stupid token Tuesdays that nobody was ever doing anyway. And now you're seeing even gold is harder and harder to get. They're not even handing out as much of that anymore. So it's really both. you know, and yeah, I love it. I love it. Second dinner, if you ever watch this, and who knows who watches what, you got some great ideas there from Lauren. So make it happen. It doesn't seem
Hire
like
me.
it would be that hard. There you go. Just hire Lauren to be your economic advisor or something like that. There you go. That's fantastic. I love it. I love it. And something needs to. You're right. Something needs to happen. It does. It just. Doing all this new stuff is great, but you have to get something a little more player friendly going, or it's going to be a problem. You're going to see a problem, I think, going forward. So
yeah, even if it's just a sentiment thing, they clearly have a problem.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, we're going to get back to cards. I know you've got some stuff going on, so I don't want to keep you, too much longer, but we've got some other things coming as far as cards go. I want to talk to you about this. We have the Young Avengers coming. Apparently, this is going to be our August season. We've got Hawkeye, of course, that's Kate Bishop. There's Marvel Boy. There's Hulkling, of course, Hulk's son. Wiccan and Speed are Scarlet Witch's kids. This looks like it's going to be fun. Nothing really on them other than the character announcements, but I want to go over quickly with you. We have these. So we have arrows, obviously, for Kate Bishop. So it looks as if Kate may be like a Nico, where we might see these arrows played. Maybe the arrow pops up like Nico's spells do somehow. I don't really know. I don't know how they're going to go with this. It looks kind of exciting. You can kind of maybe predict what some are going to do. Like the acid arrow probably is going to give like negative power to something. You got the grapple, which I would imagine would move her
Ghost Spider,
someplace, like Ghost Spider, and then you have the basic. Who knows? That could be like a +1 or something to something, or that's just very simple. But what do you think of Young Avengers? I like these characters. I'm pretty excited about this, and especially obviously the Kate Bishop arrow function. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't actually know Marvel Boy at all, but the other four I'm at least loosely familiar with.
Yeah, Marvel Boy I'm not that familiar with either. You're right.
I know Hulkling and Wiccan are a couple, which great.
Yes.
Let's add more queer characters to the game.
Yep.
The Hawkeye mechanic I think is super fun. It's going to be Nico-ish, right? It looks like a toolkit card.
I would think so. Yeah.
But I think it will use a different mechanic. I don't think it'll just be a Nico clone. Shuffle a random one into your hand, or she transforms into a different one every turn. I guess that is.
Yeah, like I was
know. Thinking that's the old snow guard, but that is the Nico ability.
Yeah.
Shuffle into your deck, that kind of hurts unless the arrows are really good or if they have draw power.
Do you think they go on the board physically, kind of like she shoots it and then it goes on the board, almost like a Thanos stone, where it ends up being on the board somewhere? I don't know.
Yes. I think otherwise they wouldn't be cards.
Right.
I don't. Yeah. So maybe they really are like Nico spells, right? Like you don't see the Nico spells as cards unless you tap on Nico and it expand her.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like that, but I think it's more likely that they are like Thanos stones.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because like the negative when we're talking about the acid arrow, maybe that goes to your opponent's lane. And it shoots over there and gives, and maybe it gives maybe it goes over there as a like White Widow as a -2 or something like that in their lane. So I don't know. It's a great question. It's interesting though, and to see what these are going to do. Speed, I'm a little afraid of. Let's not have another Quicksilver.
Definitely not. But we need a speedster who can be viable.
Yes,
that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, Yo-Yo's out there too. She's in the data mines as well from S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah.
She is in essence another one like the Flash.
Her ability is cool. Every time she, at least her data mine ability, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see it change. But every time she moves, she comes back to her original location, which is extremely thematic with her ability, and gets extra power.
Yeah. Yeah, they do need a good speedster in the game. I would agree. I've got to tell you, I love the other card that we're getting today is Nocturne.
Oh yeah.
I love how they did that. I am so in love with how they did that. I love how they combined the cards. They combined Nightcrawler and Scarlet Witch together, gave her both power, and they gave her both abilities. So she changes the location and moves the one space like Nightcrawler does. That's amazing. That's the best development of a card I've ever seen. She has the combined power of both of those cards, which I had no idea. Nightcrawler is a 1/2, and Scarlet Witch is a 2/3. So the card's a 3/5. That's phenomenal.
the same energy, power,
Yeah.
and ability.
Yeah.
Is very cute design.
Phenomenal. Very well done. I'm excited to play that card. I don't know if I have it up here. I think I do. But I'm excited to play this card. Let me go through my slides here. Oh, there's a Pym arrow too. I forgot about that one. God knows what that could do. The Pym arrows in Marvel, obviously, they grow and small. You grow bigger and you grow smaller with Pym particles. Or you time travel with them. So I have no idea what they're going to do with that one. But there's Nocturne. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for this. This could, I think, maybe even, dare I say, take the place of Jeff. Jeff is so popular, but he's a 2/3 and he moves one space. This is going to move a space with 5 power, and she can change the location. So goodbye to limbo. If somebody has a limbo out there and you want that gone, it's gone.
And it's free,
yes.
right? You don't have to pay for Legion or Storm or
correct.
Whatever. The Snow Guard Hawk.
Yep.
She's free to kill Limbo, which I think also means that she'll be fun in decks where you're the one who made Limbo.
Mm-hmm.
And you just give the threat like, am I going to get rid of it? Maybe.
Yep. Yeah, I
think people are sleeping on her movability. I've seen a lot of people rate her low. I have also, like, to be fair, I've seen a lot of people rate her highly. She's my number 2 this season. But like just that ability to move freely, right? The Nightcrawler, Vision, Phoenix Force, and Jeff.
Yeah,
that's a really strong ability
for sure.
You can block a lane from getting clogged. You can fill up the raft and then still be able to play something there on turn 6 to get more power, right? Like there's a lot of reaching inaccessible locations. Obviously, that's the obvious one, but there's a lot of other benefit to that ability.
There is. Yeah, imagine like you move her to a lane. She changes it to one of the locations where cards can't be played, or something along those lines. There's a lot of things this card can do. I'm excited. I think I'm a little more excited to play this card than I am Blink, actually, because I think this can have a lot more use. You can really put her in any deck. I think similarly to Jeff, and yeah, I love this card in just the design of it and the overall what it does. I'm really, really excited to play this card, and of course she comes out today along with Blink the season pass, so she will be in caches. I'm using tokens for her because I already mentioned my distaste for the Spotlight caches that are out this month. So let me see what else I've got here. Of course, there is Blink. That has been changed, as we said earlier. We have Sage. We'll just go over these real quickly. We have Sage at a 3/0. 0 power. Interesting. Unreveal +2 power for each. Different power among all other cards here. Lauren was mentioning rankings. I was able to give my rankings on the season, as was Lauren. They're going to appear in an article from Glazer, I believe he does. Yeah.
Yep. Every month.
So check that out. There will be a bunch of different creators who have given their top 5 card lists of the month and stuff. So check that out. You may, just make a decision as to whether or not you want to get certain cards or not by the list. But what do you think of Sage?
Sage, I feel a lot like Namora, where I think people are really sleeping on her, but also I have her at number 4. And it's just that good card problem again. Like everything's good.
Everything's good.
She gets really big, right? All other cards here. That means you could have 3 on your side of the board and 4 on your opponent's side of the board.
Yep.
And she's a 3/17. That's 3/14. I can do math.
Yep.
Obviously that's like ideal situation, but I think she's going to hit 3/8 pretty easily, which is 4 different powers.
It's an ideal stat line.
And that's Gladiator, right?
It is. Yeah.
Her downside is different. Her downside is you need to play her later.
Yeah.
And that means she's not nearly as flexible. Like Gladiator, you can play in most decks. Sage, you have to play in a deck that's okay with playing small cards late.
Yep. Yeah, very true. Yep. I believe I've got, nope, that's not this. Where are my other cards here? Somewhere. Nope, that may not be. I'm going through. Oh, here we go. Here we got. Well, we can go over these quick too. Yeah. This is going to be the Deadpool season. So we have Of course, this is Ajax. He's a 4/4, at least for now. These might change, subject to change, obviously. He's an ongoing +1 power for each card in play afflicted with negative power. This is interesting. Hazmat, Scorpion, all those ways that people are playing in these affliction decks anyway. This guy can be a monster. He can get big. And so pretty decent card, I think, for those particular decks or styles of play.
I think it's super fun to have another reward card for Toxic or Affliction, especially because Affliction and Junk get paired together a lot because you do like the Junk or the Debris or whatever, and then you hit all those cards you gave them with Hazmat.
Yep.
But Annihilus has done a lot to like centralize Junk into just that one flavor, and so I think it's really nice to get another reward card for Affliction besides Evolved Abomination.
Very true. Yeah, I agree. High Evo, he would work in as well, the High Evo Affliction deck. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun card, I think. And like you were saying, it can use another big card for that thing. Abomination's okay, but ultimately he's a 9. Which is nice. He can't get shanged and everything like that. But Mockingbird's a 9 as well. So I don't know. They could use a bigger card, like you said. We have Copycat. Copycat's a 3/5. When you draw this, steal the text from the bottom card of your opponent's deck. So she's stealing the text. This can get really crazy.
I love this one. So fun.
Agreed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like, for me as a Galactus player, could you imagine you throw her down and she steals Galactus's text from the bottom of the deck, and all of a sudden you have her, blowing up lanes? Yeah, this is just going to be amazingly fun, and it's going to be really fun to see what people design around her as far as what cards do they think they want her to hit, because the bottom card of your deck, at least for me, a lot of times it's an important card. Hela, you might be playing, and Hela may be the very bottom card of your deck where you're never going to see the card. Tribunal. I got into a situation where I think Iron Man was the last card of my deck. I absolutely needed the card. I lost because I didn't get it. So this can be played a whole bunch of different ways. But yeah, what are your thoughts? This is going to be a fun card.
I think you very rarely see the bottom card of your deck, right? Like,
very true. Yeah.
Like Hela Tribunal is one of the only decks that reliably hits the bottom card.
Yep.
They're running Magic, Crystal, Jubilee, Iron Lad, like to make sure that they can get the entire deck.
Yep.
I think that it's on draw is so cool because you get the cable knowledge, right? You get to know something that's in your opponent's deck, and you don't have to spend any energy to know it.
Yep. Even
if it's not a good ability, 3/5 is a decent stat line, and she's providing value even if you don't play her. How many cards do that? Hardly any. I can't think of any right now, but there's probably one or two.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that. How did I not read that? That's a draw. Yeah, when you draw it, so she's going to capture the ability right when you draw the card. Oh my god, yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And it's steal, right? So it's not copy, it's steal.
Yeah.
So they don't get it if they do hit the bottom card.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You could mix this with a Darkhawk type deck, because every time you give them a rock, it shuffles their deck. So steal a card, or steal an ability, and then shuffle their deck, so they might draw that card.
Yep. That's awesome.
I think it's a super fun design.
Yeah.
And will join Nocturne as a 3-cost that can go in pretty much any deck.
Yeah, it's fun because it looks like we're getting new mechanics, which is cool. You're seeing different stuff. They're manipulating different things now. Like with this one, now when you draw the card, it doesn't have to be played. I like that. They're changing some mechanics. We're going to see another card in this list too that looks like it's going to have different mechanics as well. So that's really fun card. Next up, we've got, here's the other one I was just talking about. We have Cassandra Nova. Cassandra Nova is the villain, of course, in Deadpool 3. She's the one you see from the back. Well, now you've seen her up close, but she is a 3/1. On reveal, drain is the key here. Drain 1 power from each card in your opponent's deck. They haven't said it. They haven't clarified it, but drain has got to mean that it's going to go to her. So
I think so too.
yeah, it has to be. I mean, even going back in my days of Magic, when there was a drain life card. You would drain life directly from your opponent to you. So I would imagine it has to be that. But again, each card in your opponent's deck, that's not bad. If you can get her down pretty early, that's a pretty decently sized big card for a 3.
Yeah, she's a 3/7 on turn 3, I think.
Yep.
But of course, you could proc her multiple times. You could be playing a Darkhawk deck, so there's more hits. I think that she's a very interesting card.
Yeah. What I question with this one, because we were just talking about the affliction, right? Will that show up almost like a scorpion shows up? So will those cards come out with that negative power, like showing up on the screen? I would imagine they would, right?
That's how I would read it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So another card that's going to work really well in affliction decks. She looks like she's going to be a pretty nasty villain. I didn't know much about her. She was a clone of Professor X in the womb or something like that, I read. So she has very similar powers to him, and you can see in the trailer where she's fighting Wolverine, she's just not doing anything and just making his claws go into the ground and stuff. So she looks like she's going to be a pretty decent villain. And then of course we have everybody's favorite Hydra guy, Hydra Bob. He's been in Deadpool movies before. He was in the first Deadpool when he walked up to him at the end. Hey, Bob, what's going on? This guy's funny, man. He's had books that are out there that are comedic comic books. A lot of people love him. He is a 2/5. So really good stat line. After each turn, move to another location if you're losing there. So if you're losing, he's out. He's like, yeah, peace out. I'm out of here. You're losing this lane. I'm gone. But this seems like a pretty good card too for a 2/5. Pretty good value. I mean, maybe you're playing your middle lane and having Ms. Marvel in there, and then he bounces out to one of the other lanes. So you just make sure you don't play any 2s over there or anything like that. I don't know. Another pretty decent card to me.
Yeah, I think this one looks super fun. The stats, I'm like, this is just better than Silk, but I guess it's a different motive, right? You still want Silk if you're playing the Craven type deck.
Yeah.
It's a very good priority card, right? Because if he's in the losing lane, a lane you're losing anyway, there's a chance he moves to a lane that he will end up flipping. I love that he's at the end of the turn, right? I'm just, of course, my Valkyrie's my favorite card in the game, so I'm like, I'm going to Valkyrie a lane with 3 cards, and then leave room for Hydra Bob to come in.
Yep,
he's got 5 power, so he breaks the tie.
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah. He's a very interesting card. He's a dumber Captain Marvel.
Yes,
but being 2 cost cheaper is quite good.
No doubt. Yeah, that's a great stat line. I wonder if it stays that way. I hope it does. We don't see too many 2. In fact, I don't even know. Are there any 2/5s?
There's Lizard and Silk.
My poor dog is crying about something. She's dreaming.
Oh,
passed out on the floor having dreams. Yeah. Okay. So so there are a couple 2/5s, but yeah, that's a great stat line. I love how Valkyrie's your favorite card too. That is such a slept on card. It really is. It is such a slept on card. I don't understand why people don't play it more, especially with metas that are out there with these gigantic cards everywhere. Whether it be Hela and stuff like that. But yeah, it's crazy that not many more people jump on that bandwagon for that card. It's such a good card.
Yeah, she's kind of like a Shang-Chi and Shadow King at the same time.
Yeah, takes care of everything.
She can't deal with ongoing, right? So it's they all have their weaknesses.
Right. But such a good card. It has such an amazing variance too with that card. So yeah, I know you split. What was the one you split? Countless amounts of
the Pixel.
The Pixel. Oh, that's great. Oh man, I hate when you run into that. I just had that happen with. I think I shared it in our group, the Red Hulk. I split that thing so many times and got nothing. A foil, the prism, foil, prism, foil, prism. Finally, after all that time, I got an inked one. I'm like, oh my god, I had 13 splits or something in that card. You were up there too. That's crazy.
Yeah, 43 to get the one I wanted.
Oh my god, that's insane. That's awesome. All right, let me see if I have any. Nope, that is going to be it. So that is, of course, the Deadpool season. And yeah, so Lauren, look, I know you've got stuff to do and things that you have going on there in real life, as we all do. But man, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. Lauren's the best. Where can my listeners find you? And check out all that stuff. And look, I want to do something too right after Lauren mentions that, because I want to talk very quickly about a teaser that we have too for you. So, love teasers, right? So, where can they find you?
All right, I write at Marvel Snap Zone once a month ish. But the best place to find me is probably Twitter. Lauren Whatevs, no spaces or underscores or anything like that. Fairly active there, and I do kind of like mini articles, much to Glazer always teasing me like, you should be writing this for Snap Zone so you get paid. But I'm like, I have so much pressure, so much less pressure to just write like a few posts on Twitter with a character limit. Like, I don't know, my perfectionism kicks in when I'm writing a full article. Yeah, I like to think that I have a unique approach to the game. So good check me out on Twitter.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. Make sure you follow Lauren on the X, or whatever the people are calling it these days. Hellscape, as I refer to it sometimes. But yeah, so I wanted to and I've been kind of teasing this on my other shows, but I want you guys to make sure that you stay tuned to not only my channel, obviously Lauren as well, the X, and also, of course, our friend Glazer over at Snap Judgments, who we always said does an amazing job with the content he does, the work that he does over there, daily videos and stuff like that. And, balancing life and work is not easy, and he does a great job of it. But I want you all to stay tuned and watch our areas and our channels here, because there is something coming. And I could tell you, Lauren's got something coming, and I could tell you that we as a group have something coming as well. So it's exciting, Lauren, and I can't wait to see all this good stuff that's coming down the pike.
Well, thanks so much. I'm very excited too. Probably like a week or two out, but yeah, we have some exciting projects in the work.
Yeah, so watch this channel, and of course, check out the X and stuff. Yeah, just keep your eyes open, because there are good things coming, and that's all I'm going to say for now. I'm not spoiling anything, but yeah, keep your eyes open and watch the channels, guys. And as always, thank you so much, Lauren. You are welcome back anytime. I might have to start. You might have to be a regular for me. Like, I might have to have you on every month, because this is just. I love the conversation. The time goes by so quickly. I looked at the clock. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost 2 hours, and it goes by like that. So, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you. Obviously, all your awesome insights into the economy and everything. So, thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I will gladly be back a third time.
Absolutely. Anytime. That's awesome. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. So coming up, well, first of all, if you're listening to this on the YouTubes, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit a like on the video as well. It helps me out. Also, leave any comments you may have there. This will also be available on audio as well. I know a lot of people still listen there, and I appreciate all of you that do. But make sure you leave me comments there as well. Tomorrow night, I have Interrobang on the show, fellow Galactus Herald. That ought to be a fun Galactus conversation for about 2 hours. He will be here tomorrow night. I'll have that out around 10 o'clock-ish or so tomorrow night. And then so many cool guests coming up down the road for me that I'm just blessed to have on the show. Guys, it's been great. Have a great rest of your day. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always, even on the X. And hopefully, I will see you all on the next one. Have a great one, guys. This is your Snap DJ signing off.